joined by UMass Boston baseball senior pitcher Ben Gottesman. Ben, what have you been up to the last couple weeks?
Yeah, what's up, Seth? I've been working out a bunch. I've been going to my classes, doing my homework. My course schedule is pretty easy, I'd say, this last semester because I loaded up the fall semester. But I've been doing all my coursework, working out a bunch, and hanging out with my younger brother a lot. He's a senior in high school, so we'll hang out outside, play catch, play the new MLB The Show. Just pretty much hanging out.
With that, obviously you don't have access to the UMass Boston athletes equipment room. What do you have that you're kind of able to access, and how much have you been utilizing some of the stuff that Geoff Ebbs, the athletic performance coach, is putting out there for the student athletes?
Yeah, so I actually have a barbell with a small set of weights, some dumbbells in my basement. So I've been able to do a good amount of stuff, and I've been keeping in touch with Geoff a lot. He's awesome, and I've been doing a ton of stuff that he taught me over these last 4 years because, you never know, maybe I'll be playing baseball sometime soon in the future. So I've really been taking what Geoff has taught me and, continuing to work on that.
Speaking of baseball, you were a guy who had a tremendous junior year and had a chance to be one of the aces on the staff here as a senior. What was kind of your emotional reaction? What was going on in your mind as you guys first found out that there was no Florida trip, and then immediately after found out that about a week later, found out your season was going to not be resumed at any point?
It was definitely tough. It was just those few practices heading up to when we were kind of hearing that the season might be gone, Florida might be gone. It was a tough few days in practice, not knowing what our future was going to hold. But, as a senior, along with the other seniors, we were just making sure the morale stayed high and that we continue to work hard because we really had no idea what was going to happen.
For you, you pitched twice in those first 4 games, started the second game of the season, got a no decision, and then came on in relief and pitched well against MIT. Is it nice to know that if you don't end up playing baseball again, that you did get a couple games under your belt, pitched well, just showed again some of the progress that you've made over these past 2 seasons?
Yeah, it's nice to do well, obviously, but I think it's also super nice to, going 3-1 is nice. But I'd also say this probably won't be my last time playing baseball. I'm going to play as long as I can, as long as my arm doesn't fall off and I can stay in shape because, I really like this sport and I love playing it.
Let's talk about your progression over your first 3 years into this season. Your first year, you only got a handful of innings on a very good team. Sophomore year, mostly a reliever, got the 1 start and did not pitch well against a very, very good Rowan team, which is, there's no issue with that. Rowan, consistently one of the best teams in the country. But your junior year, you broke out in a huge way. A sub-2 ERA in 60 innings, almost a strikeout an inning, a key starter. You started game 1 of the conference tournament and game 1 of the regional tournament, then pitched in the College World Series and the Super Regionals. If we had talked about this right before your junior year, could you have ever envisioned having as much success as you did? And what do you kind of attribute all of the success you had during that junior season to?
Yeah, that's a tough question, but I'd say I can attribute that to, as I said before, Geoff Ebbs. I think I can't see a strength coach being any better than him. I've told people before I think he's the best strength coach in the country just because I can't imagine anyone better. And he does such a good job developing his players in the weight room and their attitude towards lifting and playing and being a beacon. So I'd say I definitely attribute a lot to him. And I'd also attribute it to my teammates. We're a super competitive group. Who not only competes with other teams, but we compete with each other on a daily basis. So I definitely attribute a lot of our success to the team as well.
We talked about this a little bit last year during your Beacon Spotlight, but you were a career reliever your first 2 years, and all of a sudden, that game against Mitchell College, your second collegiate start, you went 3 innings against a strong team, and then you stretched out 6 of your last 7 starts, including a lot of playoff starts, teams against really good teams. You went 5 or more innings. What is that process like, and how has that kind of helped you now, where whether you're potentially going to come back and play collegiate baseball or summer league baseball, how does that kind of give you an edge where you're ready for any kind of situation?
Yeah, I'd say that my my years in mid-relief actually shaped who I was as a starter. It definitely was humbling, and I know a lot of people say that, the ace of the team is a spotlight, and, that's maybe more important than a mid-relief role, but I learned that, a lot of grit comes from being a mid-reliever, a lot of heart comes from pitching in those low-pressure situations, but you have to pitch well, obviously. So I kind of just transferred that grit that I had pitching mid-relief into being a starter, and it kind of was a solid transition for me.
This year, you were one of 3 captains on the team after another season saw a large senior class graduate. That's been happening more and more, and guys have stepped up. What were you trying to do, you and Joey, with such a young pitching staff this year, in terms of developing some of those younger guys who are going to have to step into those maybe mid-relief roles, maybe later relief roles that have been kind of locked down the last couple of years with guys like Bobby Tramandozzi filling that spot?
Yeah, we just tried to let the guys know, especially the young guys, that they're here for a reason and that they should be trusting their abilities. A lot of freshmen who come into college get all mental with what they're doing because obviously the hitters are a lot better and the game's a lot deeper. So we just want to make sure the guys are really trusting their stuff and not listening to too many outside voices and just kind of feeling what they had to feel to be successful on the mound.
How much fun was it to be that older guy who guys were looking to versus maybe your freshman year, you were having to look up to some of the seniors on the staff who had already proven their success?
It was fun, but it was tough, honestly. Me and Joey Rogers and all the other seniors went into it knowing that we had a huge young group and that we had to pretty much lead half the team and show them, what the Beacon way was. So it definitely wasn't easy. It was fun to, be able to be a leader and with my other seniors, but it was definitely a grind and it was tough to get everyone on board.
Ben, is there a moment, whether individual or a team accomplishment, that you're going to be able to look back on it and cherish from your time as a Beacon?
Obviously, all the wins and the super regional wins are great, but I'd say all the moments I'm going to look back on are the little moments, like, I don't know, being in the weight room, grinding on an Aerodyne bike with, 5 other pitchers, or deadlifting as much as I can, just with the teammates, or on the field, just messing around. Like, those kinds of little moments are the moments I'm definitely going to look back on. For
sure. Ben, you didn't have a set plan for when you were going to graduate, but you were looking towards pursuing a job. Now things have kind of changed. What's gone into maybe a change in your post-senior year plans? Although obviously, if you want it, you have another senior year, at least athletically.
Yeah, so I was planning to just start looking for jobs, whether that be in marketing or sales. I do have a sales internship under my belt, so I kind of know what that industry looks like. But, now I've kind of started looking to maybe pursuing graduate school because I do have a lot of time on my hands. I could take these tests like the GMAT or the GRE maybe, or I just have a lot of time on my hands to be pursuing this kind of thing, and the economy obviously not great right now. So, I might as well see if I can take my education to the next level.
What would you look to be studying, and how would baseball kind of factor in to that decision making? Is it towards the top? Is it below the academics? What kind of goes into that decision making process for you and your family?
I would say the academics is definitely the priority right now. I know baseball might be tough because I do want to stay in the area, and the 2 schools in the area that are D3 that I'd really be interested in are probably UMass Boston and Babson. And a lot of the other schools that have good MBA programs are schools that are Division I athlete schools and schools that are further away. So I'd say the academics are definitely first, and if I'm able to play baseball, I might as well because I've still been lifting and throwing, so I'm staying in shape.
Thanks so much, Ben. Good luck in your future, whether it is with grad school or finding a job, and hopefully you've got some more baseball to come.
Yeah, thanks so much, Seth. I appreciate it.